So I did not take any classes.
Oh, okay.
So we are going to start with the chapter that is human reproduction. Now this chapter is very interesting and it is lengthy also, but anyway we're going to do it. Now the whole entire process of the reproduction in the case of human beings. First of all, can anybody tell me what is reproduction? How do you define reproduction? How do you define it? It is the process by which young ones are brought to life, right? A process by which, if in terms of humans we're talking about, we can give rise to the young ones. Now, the whole entire process of reproduction, it has certain stages which it has to go through, such as the first is gametogenesis, meaning the formation of gametes. Then there is insemination, meaning the fusion part has to take place. And insemination is more particularly the transferring of the male gametes to the female's reproductive tract. Then there is fertilization, the fusion of the male and gametes. After the fertilization has been done, then the zygote will be formed. Now this zygote has to get implanted. So that becomes the implantation. Now once the zygote has been implanted, the division of the embryo takes place and the formation of the fetus starts. And that whole entire period for humans is 9 months. So that is gestation. Lastly, when the fetus is ready after the 9 months, it has to be delivered, and that is parturition. So these are the following steps that are present in the human reproduction. Now we'll talk about the male reproductive system. Now, the male reproductive system, it is present in the pelvis area, the pelvic region. It includes a pair of testes, meaning 2 testes are there, accessory ducts, the glands that are associated with the reproduction, and the external genitalia. The testes, they are situated outside the abdominal cavity within the pouch, which is known as scrotum. Always remember that the testes in the case of male reproductive system, they are located outside the body. Now there is a reason. Like normally, all of our organs are present inside our body. No matter whether it is related to the reproductive system or not, our organs are present inside the body. Then what is the reason that testes being the primary sex organ, it is present outside the body? So it has a reason. See, our body has a temperature of 37 degrees Celsius, right? Our internal body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Now, testes are those organs in which the sperms are produced. Now, the formation of sperm requires 2 to 2.5 degree lower temperature than the body temperature. So, it either requires 35 degrees Celsius or anything. And because of that very reason, the scrotum is present outside the body to maintain the low temperature of the testes. A lower temperature of the testes is necessary for spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means formation of sperm. Clear? So this is the reason why it is located outside the body. This is a very famously asked question. Now, in an adult, each testis is oval in shape. The length is from 4 to 5 centimeter. The width is from 2 to 3 centimeter. It is covered by a dense covering. Just 1 second, students, just 1 second. Okay, so the testes, it is covered by a dense covering, and each testes has about 250 compartments present inside it, and those compartments are known as testicular lobules. Okay, so inside each testes there is 250 compartments. Now each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules, meaning inside the testes, testicular lobules are there. Inside the testicular lobules, there is seminiferous tubules. Okay. Just give me one second. Okay. Now, inside each testicular lobules, there are 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. These are the structures. Now, each of the seminiferous tubule is lined with two types of cells. Now, everyone here knows the difference between lining and covering. If, for example, this is an all, anything. If the things are present here on the outer side, if it is like present on the outer side, then that is what? That is
Lining.
or covering.
Covering.
Covering, yes. If it is present on the outer side, then that is covering. But if the thing is present on the inner side like this, then that becomes lining. So when I say that this particular thing, the seminiferous tubule is lined by two types of cells, meaning two types of cells are present on the inner layer of the seminiferous tubules. Now, what are those two cells? There is the male germ cells, that is the spermatogonia, and the second type of cells are the Sertoli cells. So, two types of cells are lining the seminiferous tubules. So, starting from the outside, we have testicular lobule. Then inside we have, first the testes is there. Testes contains the testicular lobule. Inside the testicular lobule, there is seminiferous tubules. Then inside the seminiferous tubules, two types of cells are there, male germ cells and Sertoli cells. Up till now, is everything clear? Any doubts? Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. Now, the male germ cells, the first kind of cells that are also known as spermatogonia. The male germ cells form the sperms by the process of meiosis. Obviously, since sperm is a gamete, it has to be formed by meiosis. So the male germ cells, it forms the sperm by the process of meiosis. Now, what is the function of Sertoli cells? So Sertoli cells perform the function of providing nutrition to the germ cells, meaning the male germ cells, they get their nourishment from the Sertoli cells. Clear? The functions of these two cells are clear to you? Okay. Now there is interstitial spaces. See, the region outside the seminiferous tubule, which is present on the outer area, that is known as the interstitial spaces. Now, what does this space contain? So, it contains the blood vessels, it contains the interstitial, it contains the Leydig cells. Okay, so it contains the blood vessels and the another type of cells that are known as Leydig cells. There are multiple cells here. Okay, so now the interstitial spaces, the region which is present outside the seminiferous tubule. Now we are talking about this area. We discussed about this area. Now we're talking about this area. This area has the interstitial spaces. Now this spaces has the Leydig cells present. Clear? So if we are talking about the formation of gametes, it is towards the inner side, isn't it? But right now we are going to see what is the function of the Leydig cell. So the Leydig cells, they synthesize and secrete the testicular hormone, which is known as androgen. The male hormones is synthesized and secreted by the Leydig cells. Clear? So now the hormones that are responsible for the male reproduction, that is synthesized from the Leydig cells. And now you people understand how it is present on the outer area and how the gametes are formed towards the inner area. Is it clear? Any doubts up until now? Okay. Now, apart from the male hormones or the androgens, apart from all these cells that I've talked about, right? Interstitial cell, Leydig cell, male germ cell, Sertoli cells. Apart from that, other immunologically competent cells are also present. What do you mean by immunologically competent? How does a cell become immunologically competent? Or what is the meaning of immunological? What is it denoting?
Immune.
Immunity.
By immune means our immunity,
Yes, the
our
cells
immune
that
system.
are, yes, correct. The cells that are helpful for the immune aspect of the male body. Those cells are also present in that particular area. So this was about the testes. And always remember the testes and the ovaries. Testes in male, ovaries in female. They are known as the primary sex organ. The primary sex organ. Never forget this. Now, can someone tell me why is it known as the primary sex organ?
Because the formation of sperms.
Not just sperms, but the formation of gametes.
Gametes. They produce gametes.
Yeah, male and female both. So testes for males and ovaries for female, they are known as the primary sex organs because they are responsible for the formation of gametes. And without gametes, sexual reproduction will never take place, right? Okay. Now moving forward, apart from the testes, there are ducts present in the male reproductive system. Now, those are known as the accessory ducts. Now see, why ducts? Because inside the testes, once the sperms are formed, something has to be there to transport them, right? Just like how we open the tap and we need a pipe to transport it to a garden hose. I'm giving a very vague example. So again, the male reproductive system also requires certain ducts so as to transport the gamete that is formed. Now, retitestes, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. All of these are the names of the accessory ducts that are present in the male's body. Now, once the sperm has been formed, okay, so sperm are formed inside the seminiferous tubule, isn't it? Okay. Now, once the sperm has been formed inside that, then from it, it leads to the retitestes. From the retitestes, the sperms go into the vas efferentia. From the vas efferentia, the sperms go into the epididymis. Then from there, it goes into the vas deferens, then to the ejaculatory duct, and ultimately they are released out through the urethra. So this whole entire, you can say, pathway that you're seeing, it is the pathway of sperm. There is no change for any human being. It is the constant, and it is very important because, you know, in many questions, they can directly ask you, like they'll put one thing into blank. Maybe they'll remove vas efferentia and ask you to fill in the blanks. So you should know what comes after which, okay? So this is the pathway, it will stay like this forever. Now, this ejaculatory duct and the urethra, both of them are present in the penis. All of these are present right inside the body or near the test or inside the test. But this part is the external genitalia part. Clear? Any doubts up until now? Okay. Also, another thing that I want you people to know that since we are talking about human reproduction, right? Many a times it becomes very embarrassing for students to ask anything, even if you do have doubts, because you know I know that it is very normal to feel a little embarrassed to ask, but don't. Okay, it doesn't matter because you are here for studying this chapter. It's there for your knowledge only, right? And questions will come from this chapter. So whatever doubts that may come to your mind, you ask freely. You don't have to hesitate or feel embarrassed because this is something you have to study. Okay, so no more hesitation. Now, talking about the whole pathway yet again, the seminiferous tubules open into the vas efferentia through the retitestes. The vas efferentia leaves the testes and open into the epididymis, which is located along the posterior surface of testes. For example, if this is the diagram of the testes, okay? Now, we are talking about seminiferous tubule. Now, for example, it is present inside. The sperms are formed. Now, from this, the vas efferentia would be there. But before vas efferentia, there will be retitestes. And then it will leave the testes, and on the behind side, or meaning the posterior side, there will be epididymis. Okay? And this, because one way or another, it has to leave the testes to go out, right? So, epididymis, it is located on the back side of the testes. Now, this epididymis opens into the vas differentia. Now, the epididymis, it receives a duct from the seminal vesicle. Now, see, as I told you that in the male reproductive system, there is a pair of testes. We have discussed and learned about it. Then there are accessory ducts. We are learning about it right now. There are also glands present, such as, what are the glands? The prostate gland. Everyone has heard about prostate cancer, right? It is very common. This is the gland. Okay, the prostate gland. The cancer of this gland is known as prostate gland. So prostate gland is there. Then there is another gland that is known as seminal vesicle. Okay, so these are the glands primarily situated. And what is the function of glands? They secrete certain hormones, right? They secrete certain stuff for development. So does the gland. Now, since they are associated with the reproduction aspect, they secrete stuff to make nutrition for the sperm. Okay. Now, it receives, now this epididymis receives a duct from the seminal vesicle, meaning whatever secretion seminal vesicle has to give, it is actually sent into the epididymis, not inside the testes, but on the posterior side of the testes. You're getting this? Any doubts up until now? Okay. Now, the penis is the external genitalia. It is now anything, or you can say the sperm, not anything, the sperm which is formed, it has to be, you can say, expelled out of the body in order to reach the female's reproductive tract. So it does through with the external genitalia. Now, the external opening of the penis is known as urethral meatus, which is the external opening. Okay. Now, the penis, which is the external genitalia, it is made up of special tissues that help in the erection process. Now, why erection is necessary? So that the sperm can be transported outside. Clear? So this is your male, everything about the male reproductive tract, which contains the primary sex organ, which contains the accessory ducts, which contain the external genitalia. Now, the other thing that is left in discuss to discuss, properly discuss is the male accessory glands. To begin with, we have seminal vesicle. Now, they are paired. Paired means two in number. They are paired, they are tubular, and they are coiled glands. Okay, their structure is coiled. Now, where are they situated? So, they are situated behind the urinary bladder in males. They secrete a viscous, thick fluid, which is the main part of the ejaculate. Okay, the flow of the reproductive tract is known as ejaculate. And that main part, it is sort of like a fluid-like structure, which is formed because of the secretion of seminal vesicle. And the ejaculate contains all the sperms. Now, what is the function? They also provide fructose to the ejaculate. Now, why? So that the sperms can get energy, because they are living cells only, right? So they require energy to keep on living. So fructose is actually supplied by the secretion of seminal vesicle. Now, here what is important to remember? First of all, the thing that is important is that it is paired. It occurs in a pair. It is not a single gland. Just like how hypothalamus is a single gland in our body, right? But ovaries and testes, even though they are gonads, they are paired, right? Same goes for seminal vesicle. They are also paired. Now, where are they situated? So behind the urinary bladder. What do? So they secrete a viscous fluid. There is no other gland that will do so. It's just the seminal vesicle. Now talking about the prostate gland. Now this gland is chestnut shaped. Just like how seminal vesicle was coiled, this is chestnut shaped. Now, where is it situated? So it is situated at the base of the bladder or base of the urinary bladder. Seminal vesicle was behind the bladder. This is at the base of the bladder. Now, what does it do? It provides an alkaline component to the semen, meaning it sets the pH of the semen to an alkaline or basic pH. What does the basic pH ranges from on a pH scale?
More than 7.
More than 7. Very good. So it provides a basic pH to the semen. It also provides the calcium dye-positive ions and phosphate ions to the semen, again for nourishment purposes. Okay. Now, the inflammation of this gland, meaning the inflammation of the prostate gland, is known as prostatitis or prostatitis. Wherever you see the word titis, always remember it for inflammation. Meningitis, है ना? Prostatitis, same way. Now, this is a disease. I've just written it as an extra knowledge. It's not there in the NCERT. Now, the two glands we have discussed, but there is yet another gland that is known as Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland. Now, again, bulbourethral gland is a paired gland and it is pea-sized, the size of the pea. And where is it located? So, it is located adjacent to the urethra at the base of the penis. It is located adjacent to the urethra, not behind or at the base of urethra. It is adjacent of urethra. It secretes mucus to act as a lubricant. Bulbourethral gland is also present in females. The sole purpose of this gland is to release mucus to perform as a lubricant. Something to perform as a lubricant. Any doubts up until now? The male reproductive tract and the system and everything is clear to you people? Sure? Sure you don't have any doubts? Okay.
Yes.
Now you people can note down. Then we'll move on to the female reproductive system. Switch off your videos comfortably and write down.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you scroll down?
Everyone's done?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
No, ma'am, 1 minute.
Okay, tell me when you're done.
Done, ma'am.
Done.
Everyone's done?
1 minute, ma'am. You can scroll down. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am. Done.
1 minute, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
No, ma'am. 1 minute.
Done.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, now we'll start with the female reproductive system. All right. Now, moving on to the female reproductive system. So just like the male reproductive system, it also has a pair of gonads, that is the ovaries, right? And this is the primary sex organs for female. Apart from that, a pair of oviducts or a pair of fallopian tube. If you say oviduct or if you say fallopian tube, it is the same. So a pair of oviducts or fallopian tube is there. Then there is uterus, cervix, vagina, along with the external genitalia. The female reproductive system is located in the pelvic area. Apart from the above mentioned structures, a pair of mammary glands are also present. But one thing to remember, males also have mammary glands. Females also have mammary glands. What is the difference between them? Just one difference is there. The males and females, and in general, mammals, they have mammary glands present. That is why the name mammals has been given. But what is the difference between the male mammary glands and the female mammary glands? Does anyone have any idea?
Ma'am, the female mammary gland produces milk for the infant.
Yeah, it produces milk because it is functional. The male mammary glands are present 100%, but they are not functional. So we'll mention one thing here that is forever to remember, that it is functional. Clear? And that is why only the females can produce milk and not the males. All these organs, structures, and glands are integrated to function together to support the following processes. Ovulation, that is release of ovum. Then fertilization, when the sperm fertilizes with the ovum. Then later on, pregnancy, birth, and childcare. So a female's body is much more, you can say, integrated to perform even more functions as compared to the male's body. More importantly, the female reproductive tract. Now, talking about the primary sex organs of the female, that is ovary. It produces the ovum, which is the female gamete. And apart from that, it also produces the steroid hormones, that is ovarian hormones. Just like how the testes in males produce the male hormones, same way the ovaries will produce the female hormones. Okay, rest of the hormones in both the case of male human and female human is same, hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, everything. But the female hormones will be synthesized and secreted by the ovaries, and in the male's case, it will be synthesized and secreted by the testes. Okay, were you going to ask me something, Mariam? Okay. Now, what is the meaning of steroid hormones? See, all those hormones that are derived from the cholesterol, that is a fat. Okay, you might have studied in biomolecules, cholesterol, right? All the fatty molecules. So when any hormone is derived, it is fatty in nature or cholesterol derived hormone. Those are steroid hormones. So a very famous question, the nature of ovarian hormone is steroidal. Some hormones are proteinaceous. Some hormones are steroidal. Now, ovaries are located in the lower abdomen on each side. The length of ovary is 2 to 4 centimeters. Ovaries are attached to the wall of the pelvis and uterus by ligaments. Obviously, nothing can be hanging in the body, right? It has to be attached to some place. So, the ovaries, they are attached to the wall of the pelvis and the uterus with the help of ligaments. Now, ligaments are certain tissues that help in the attachment process. Now, Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium. Now, inside the ovary, now we're coming inside. Now, it encloses ovarian stroma. Everyone knows that stroma is the collecticular, like it is a space enclosed by certain membranes. If you say stroma, if you say matrix, the meaning is the same, right? It is an enclosed space. So, the stroma of the ovary will be known as the ovarian stroma. The stroma is divided into two zones, the peripheral cortex and the inner medulla. If you look at this diagram, the medulla, this part, change the color. This part you see, this part, it is the inner part, right? Situated towards the center. So that becomes the inner medulla. And this yellow part you see, all the yellow part, it is at the peripheral position. So that is the peripheral cortex. Always remember, medulla is inside, cortex is on the periphery, not outside. Now, apart from the primary sex organ, there is the presence of the duct, which is known as oviduct, and it is also known as fallopian tube. Then there is uterus and vagina. See, oviduct, uterus and vagina all together, they are known as accessory ducts for female. Just like how male had retitestes, vas efferentia, epididymis, vas differentia, the females, they have oviduct, uterus and vagina. Clear? These are the accessory ducts. Now, this is the diagram for the female reproductive system. Now you see over here, there are certain parts of the fallopian tube, because this is the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube has further been divided into three parts. Okay, depending upon their location. Then this is the ovary, right? It is attached to the pelvic wall with the help of ligaments. Now talking about the fallopian tube, which is the oviduct. The length of the fallopian tube is 10 to 12 centimeter. It extends from the periphery of each ovary into the uterus. Starting from here, it goes up until the uterus area. Okay, so it is 10 to 12 centimeter. Now there are three parts of the fallopian tube. The first part is the infundibulum. This is the name of the first part of fallopian tube. It lies closest to the ovary. The part which is closest to the ovary is known as infundibulum. It is funnel shaped. The edges of the infundibulum possess finger-like projection, which are known as fimbriae. Now, what is there? It is there for collection of the ovum, meaning as soon as the ovum is released by the ovary, it sort of like collects it, and that actually acts like, just imagine it like a finger-like projection, acting it to collect the ovum. After ovulation has been done, meaning release of ovum is ovulation. The second part of the fallopian tube is ampulla. It is the wider portion of the fallopian tube. It comes after infundibulum. Now, this is a passage. It does not have much to do. It is a passage. Now, the last part of the fallopian tube is isthmus. It has a narrow lumen and it opens into the uterus. Okay. So, this is your the fallopian tube and the parts of it. Now, moving on to uterus. Now, the very common name for uterus is womb. It is an inverted pear shape. Inverted. Normally, the pear is like this, right? When you invert it, that becomes the uterus shape. It is an inverted womb shape. The number of uterus in every female will be 1. It is supported by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall. The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. So, just like how the, this thing, what do you say? In the male reproductive tract, just like how the opening was into the vas efferentia through the retitestes, same way here, the uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. Okay, through the cervix means the uterus first opens into the cervix and then the cervix opens into the vagina. I don't know why they always put things like this. Through the this. Why can't they say that it opens into this and then that opens into that? So maybe because of this very reason they did not say. So as to, just 1 second. Yes. So the uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. It means that the uterus first opens into the cervix and then into the vagina. Now, the cavity of the cervix, meaning here, if you look at this diagram, the cavity of the cervix will be known as the cervical canal. Okay, a canal. Canal means a pathway, right? Now, the cervical canal, this is very important. The cervical canal along with the vagina, this is known as the birth canal. This is where the fetus is born from. Okay, the cervical canal along with the vagina will be known as the birth canal. Okay, why birth canal? Because this is where the fetus is expelled. Now, the uterus has three walls. The inner wall is endometrium, the middle wall is myometrium, and the outer wall is perimetrium. Okay, so three walls are there. Now, talking about the external genitalia of the female. Now, see, external genitalia means all those structures that are related with the reproductive organ that can be seen on the outside. If examined, it can be seen on the outside. So that is external genitalia. It contains mons pubis, it contains labia majora, labia minora, clitoris, and hymen. These are the external genitalia of the female. A functional mammary gland, it is the characteristic feature of all female mammals. That is why they are known as mammals. Okay. Now, just like how, okay, I have not given the picture. Okay, just like how our lungs have alveoli, everyone must remember. Same way, inside the mammary glands of the female, there is also the presence of alveoli, but it is not the lungs alveoli. It is a different alveoli, and it is the site of production of milk. So milk is produced inside the structure that is known as alveoli, which is present in the mammary gland. Now, after the milk has been produced, it goes into the mammary tubules. From the mammary tubules, it goes into the mammary duct. From the mammary duct, it goes into the mammary ampulla, and lastly, to the lactiferous duct. So this is the pathway of formation and ejection of milk, meaning first, the milk will be formed inside the alveoli, then it will be transported out to feed the baby through this pathway. All of these structures will be there in the book to see the diagram of it. Up until now, do you people have any doubts?
No,
No, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, we have completed the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. Okay, now we're moving on to the gamete formation. Now we have studied about how and what are the structures that are involved in the male and the female reproductive system. Now we'll talk about how the gametes are formed. Now the primary sex organs of males and females produces the gametes, that is sperm and ovum. In testes, the immature male germ cells, that is spermatogonia, it produces the sperm by the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means formation of sperm. And the sperms are formed by the spermatogonia, which is male germ cell. Now, the unique property about the male reproductive, you can say male spermatogenesis, is that it begins at puberty. What is puberty, students?
When a person becomes mature,
The time period from when the body transitions into becoming a mature person's body, right? There are certain changes that happen, and it mostly begins at the age of 12 to 13. Now, it begins like this process of spermatogenesis, means formation of sperms in the males begins at puberty. Now, the spermatogonia or the male germ cells, they are present on the inside of the seminiferous tubule. We know that. Now, firstly, what will happen is that the spermatogonia will multiply by mitosis. First, mitosis will happen and they'll start increasing in number. Each spermatogonia is diploid and contains 46 chromosomes, meaning 23 pairs, because it is diploid. Spermatogonia is diploid. because it is a cell that will give rise to male gamete. Now, some of the spermatogonia, called as the primary spermatocyte, undergoes meiosis. Now, primary spermatocyte completes first meiotic division and then forms two equal cells called as secondary spermatocyte. So, up until now, whether we are talking about spermatogonia or we're talking about primary spermatocyte, both of them are 2N. They are diploid. But now, when the primary spermatocyte gives rise to secondary spermatocyte by meiosis, then the secondary spermatocyte becomes haploid. Later on, this secondary spermatocyte undergoes second meiotic division and produces 4 cells that are known as spermatids. Okay, so up until now, starting from the right from the beginning, we have spermatogonia, which undergoes mitosis and increases in number. Some cells of the spermatogonia are known as primary spermatocyte. Now they undergo the first meiosis and form the secondary spermatocyte. Then this secondary spermatocyte undergoes the second meiosis and forms 4 cells, because at the end of meiosis, 4 haploid cells are formed. So it forms 4 cells which are known as spermatids, that is haploid yet again. Up until now, you people have understood?
Yes,
Now the spermatids get transformed into spermatozoa. Transformation. Okay, transformation. Like, you understand what transformation is? Changes in the way it looks, right? Shape, structure or something. Just the way it looks. So the spermatids, after being formed, they are transformed into spermatozoa. Spermatozoa is the scientific name of sperms. By the process of spermiogenesis. See, spermiogenesis is different from spermatogenesis. This is very confusing. So you have to be clear here only. Up until now, you people have understood the whole process?
yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
In like male gametogenesis, what is the first cell?
Spermatogonia.
Spermatogonia. The other name for spermatogonia is? The other name for spermatogonia is? No one is listening to me. It is male germ cell. Male germ cell. Okay. Now the male germ cell will undergo which division?
Meiosis.
Mitosis. Firstly, listen everyone, now pay attention. See, first cell. Now we are talking about gametogenesis. Everyone understands what is the meaning of gametogenesis? Okay, now we are talking about male gametogenesis. Okay, so male gametogenesis is equal to spermatogenesis. Okay, this much is clear to everyone? Now, to begin with, there is spermatogonia. Okay, spermatogonia, and the other name for spermatogonia is male germ cell. The male germ cell, tell me whether it is diploid or haploid. Please don't get this wrong. Haploid or diploid? Say, I did not hear. The male germ cell is haploid or diploid? Why is it confusing? Of course,
It's
it will be diploid. It shouldn't be confusing at all. It will be diploid because it is not the sperm. It is the cell that forms the sperm, right? So the male germ cell or the spermatogonia is diploid. Now, the first division that will take place in the male germ cell will be mitosis. Okay? Mitosis is equational division, right? So if the male germ cell is 2N, at the end of mitosis, what will be the number of chromosomes in the cells that are produced? Same or different?
Same.
Same. So meaning the male germ cell, when it will give rise to another cell, that will be also diploid, right? Now see, the male germ cell, it is undergoing mitosis to increase in number. So, for example, if one cell is there, it undergoes mitosis, it forms two cells. Then these two cells will undergo mitosis to form two cells each. So in that way, the number of cells are increasing. All of them are diploid. Now, some of the cells, they are known as primary spermatocyte. Okay. Now, these primary spermatocyte will undergo the first meiotic division. Here, first meiosis. Okay, and it will form the secondary spermatocyte. Okay. Primary spermatocyte after first meiosis forming secondary spermatocyte. Now the secondary spermatocyte, it will undergo the second meiosis and ultimately form 4 cells, and those are known as spermatids. Is it clear up till now?
So first mitosis happens, and then meiosis 1, and then meiosis 2.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Now the spermatids, they get transformed into spermatozoa. Transformation means change in the way they look. So spermatids gets transformed into spermatozoa, which is the sperm. And this process of transformation is known as spermiogenesis. Okay, spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis means it is, just imagine it, the spermatids are getting a makeover. They maybe wore a tie and stuff, so they got transformed. Okay. Now, after spermiogenesis, the sperm heads become embedded in the Sertoli cells. Where were Sertoli cells present?
In the seminiferous.
In the seminiferous tubules.
Correct. Towards now, on the outside or on the inside?
Inside.
Inside.
Very good. Towards the inside. Now, after those cells have been transformed, meaning after spermiogenesis has been done, their heads will come sort of like attached, like how we put things in a socket. They get attached onto it. Same way, the head of the spermatid will get attached onto the Sertoli cells. Now, when they are released from the seminiferous tubule, this process is known as permeation. The release of the spermatozoa from the seminiferous tubule is known as permeation. Clear? Okay. So 3 things we have discussed: spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis, permeation. 3 things are there. Now, can someone tell me the difference between all the 3 things? First, tell me what is spermatogenesis.
Spermatogenesis is the formation of the sperms.
Very
Sperms.
And then spermiogenesis is the transformation
From sperm to sperm.
Wait, one by one. Mariam, speak. Spermiogenesis is?
the spermatids get transformed into spermatozoa.
Very good. Spermatozoa. And the other name, like the common name for spermatozoa is sperm, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Now, Yaya, you tell me what is permeation. Let him see. Permeation.
The final released from the
From the seminiferous tubule.
Steroli cells released from the
Yeah, that is it.
seminiferous tubules.
The release of the spermatozoa from the seminiferous tubule. That is permeation. Now, the 3 SSS are clear to you people? What is the difference between them? What do they mean? So,
Yes,
with that being said, very good. With that being said, we have actually completed the spermatogenesis, the formation of sperms. We'll keep it till here only because this chapter has a lot of terminologies and it is difficult to remember everything at once. But you should remember one thing, that the process of spermatogenesis starts at the age of puberty, meaning the formation of sperm will begin at puberty. Before that, it will not. Okay? Now you people can note down. Female reproductive tract, you people have to note down, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am. Can you scroll down?
Everyone's done?
Yes,
One
ma'am.
minute, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done?
Oh,
No, ma'am.
no, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Okay, students, let's just keep it till here only because I have another class. Okay, now I'll give you time to write down from here in the next class. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.